Okay, so ignore the lighting, it's nighttime and the only light I have is this tube light that's above me. So now you are actually coming onto this video to just check which one you want, WordPress or Shopify. And before I get into it, I just want you to be aware of one thing. There are lots of articles on the internet that are comparing Shopify and WordPress, but they are not comparing the right WordPress, and I don't know if they are paid to do it or not, but basically they are comparing shopify.com versus wordpress.com, and we don't want to do that. What we want to do is we want to compare shopify.com versus WordPress, which is hosted on another platform, or wordpress.org. There's like two WordPress made by the same company, but basically we are not going to use wordpress.com but wordpress.org. So let me explain to you guys why. Basically WordPress is open source and all, and that's why there are so many hostings. Basically hostings are servers where our files are stored, our websites are stored, and those are the ones that are actually going to install WordPress for us. And it's pretty easy, not anything complicated. But let's get started. Just remember the one thing, we are comparing shopify.com versus WordPress, the software or whatever it is, and you will understand it in future, so don't worry. So the first thing I want to show you guys is the pricing. So for example, this site which I'm showing you right now, which is my site, the pricing for this one is $4 per month, and I actually have a e-commerce page around here. So if I go into my products, you could see this is the page that I have. This is made all with free, so everything is free in this one, no extra cost, only hosting is used, and I'll explain to you guys, don't worry, no need to rush. But let me show you guys. If you go into the recommended section of my website, I actually have given multiple options. So for example, if you go into hostings, you could check I have given Hostinger, Name Hero. Those are the two that I have used, but you could use anything that you want. Hostinger is what I prefer, and basically just go into this site or just use the link in description and click on Hostinger, or whichever you want, no choice. But if you choose my links, that way you could directly support me, that way I can make videos like this. So if I go to hostinger.com, I go to web hosting, and again use my links, that way you could support me if you're buying Hostinger or like any other thing from here or from my links. But basically you could see the business plan, which is what I've purchased. It's $4 per month. So like I can host 100 websites. I have 200 GB RAM, storage, SSD, free SSL email, so you get 100 emails, I believe, but all of them have 1 GB space. So if you want to have more space, you have to pay, and it's not really costly. It's like so you can create 100 emails, but they only have 1 GB storage. It gets full pretty fast, but the cost of email is like pretty cheap considering. So you could just get it. You get free domain, basically the name of whatever you want, like hostinger.com, format DMmotionarts.com, whatever your website's name is. CDN, this one like don't really matter, but I'll just, object cache is good. So these are all like features that you get like, mainly you get like daily backups, firewall protection, where it is like malware scanner and stuff like that. Now the thing is, even though I'm saying it's $4 per month, if you go to like high-end hostings, like if you're trying to buy high-end host servers like WP Engine, those guys will cost you $20 per month, and basically the more you pay, the faster your server would be. Whereas in this one, you actually don't have much options. So let me just, so right now I cannot show you the pricing perfectly because it just shows me in INR, Indian currency, but this is basically what it is. So basic Shopify is $30 per month if you pay for yearly, or if you don't pay for yearly, it's $40 per month and stuff like that. Starter $5 per month plus, and let's get to the pricing in here. And in this one, you actually get lots of features. Okay, there we go, it loaded. So basically you get all these options right now: unlimited products, staff accounts, staff support, I have one public storefront, inventory locations. And again, I cannot go on each on everything because it's very different right now what we are comparing, but I will give you like the main things that you are actually looking for. For example, this marketing automation and all, you will actually need to install another plugins for it in WordPress. So basically what we do is, if I go into my H panel, because I have Hostinger, I have H panel, you can buy any other hosting and they would have their own thing. And if I go into my websites, I can actually install my WordPress websites from here. And then that's how you install WordPress. Basically you buy a server, and then the server provider, which is this hosting provider, lots of the hosting providers right now have WordPress installer, and you install WordPress on your website for free because WordPress is open source. So remember that. Then what you do is you actually go to your dashboard, and here you do all the stuff, like you add your plugins, your stuff, whatever you want. And the thing is, now Shopify is made by one business or one company. Basically the Shopify store, this all of this stuff, all of the marketing stuff, discount stuff, this hosting, their server, all of them is handled by one company. But when you are doing for WordPress, you are buying hosting from another company. You are using WordPress, which is made by another company. It's open source, so these hostings would actually install the WordPress. Then we use WooCommerce, and WooCommerce is basically for e-commerce. And that's something that, because WordPress is not made for, or was not made for e-commerce, it was made for just blogging and all. But as it was open source, there were like other creators or other company who were creating plugins to make it convert into whatever you want. So basically you could convert it into like member site, your like whatever you site you want. You could make it blog or anything. So basically WordPress can be made for anything, even if it's not an e-commerce, whereas Shopify is just for e-commerce. And the way you do is you basically add like WooCommerce plugin, which is again free. So the plugin is free, and you add here. And then there's if you go to appearance themes, you add your own theme. For example, I'm using the free theme Ocean WP in here. And then, so right now what we are doing, we are using hosting, which is by Hostinger, different company, WordPress, different company, WooCommerce, different company, theme, different company. And then another thing that I also use is Elementor, which is different company. So what we are doing is we are using stuff which are made by different companies within a single project, whereas in Shopify all of this is handled by one company. So which is why there isn't any breaking of stuff or anything that comes up. There isn't like constant updates. The updates are done by their own company, whereas in here you actually get an option called updates like this, and you can keep on updating. So wherever this providers, this plugin providers, theme provider create new features, or they create new security features and stuff, you just have to like update it. So you could see, and I have so many plugins, and all of these are made by different companies. They are not made by one company, and remember that. Okay, so just remember one thing: Shopify is handled by one company, which is why it's easier to not break the site, whereas WordPress is made by or WordPress site is usually made by you, and you will be controlling different stuff from different companies, and that's why it has more chances of breaking. But usually you will need to just revert it back to like the previous update and stuff, and it will work. So that's one thing, and which is why I also only work in backups. So basically you can create a staging environment, and staging environment is like just a copy of your website, and in that one you update it first and then check if anything's broken. If not, then you update it in the main site, and it's pretty common to do it. Now I want to tell you about the theme differences. Now I haven't used much about much about Shopify, so I don't know much about Shopify. But let's say if I go to my online store and then go to pages, or actually I'll just show the themes, and here you could see we have one theme, and then 1 2 3 4 5, we get 5 free themes. But if you just compare it to WordPress, you get so many themes, but these are made by different companies. So if you go into themes, you will get like thousands of themes, and these are free ones. But if you actually go to like site like Envato or something like that, you would get like paid themes. So right now you see there are 6,000 themes which are free version. And even though I say free, just remember that they have some limitations. And so the way to actually get rid of those limitations is get the premium version of that theme. For example, this one I'm just using the free version. So you could see the header, log contact, this page is handled by theme. The way it looks, I can change the width and all. I can change how the layout should look like. I can add the filter. I can change the way the filters and all. So this is also common in Shopify. All of the stuff that is required in just changing your website into a fully e-commerce can be done in WordPress pretty easily. The difference being it is costing me $4 per month, and that is costing me $30 per month in Shopify. But one major difference, Shopify is hosting their own website, or Shopify is hosting your website in their own server, whereas you are choosing where you want the server to be. Now there are two advantages. So there are advantages and disadvantages of this stuff. Okay, so the advantages of WordPress is basically you own the site. For example, if I just don't like this hosting, if it's not being fast, or I don't like, or if my sales have gotten so much that this hosting is not able to provide me with that resources, I can basically just create a backup of WordPress site and go to another hosting. I could go to WP Engine, SiteGround, WPS, I don't remember what it was called, W2S or something, like high-end hostings, and I could just be like, can you transfer these websites to you, and you get their plans, which would be costlier, like $30 per month or something, and you would get faster ones. But when it comes to Shopify, you cannot do that. You cannot just download your store and just be like, hey, I want to move this to a better hosting because Shopify is just not working faster. So that's a disadvantage of Shopify. But that advantage of Shopify hosting is that as they're handling everything themselves, they just have like very good infrastructure, and they know what the hosting what the server capabilities they need to actually run their websites. Whereas on hosting, the hosting is not going to know what your capabilities or what you want or how much power you want on your website. That's something you need to know. And if you know that, you need to contact your hosting and you have to tell them, hey, I want to do that and stuff. And it's not much complicated. I know I'm making it sound complicated, but basically you go to your hostinger or your hosting, you just type in the chat and be like, hey, this is running slow, what can I do? And they will be like, hey, you need to upgrade it. Or basically they will just change the values. They would just increase the limit on what the amount of resources the server can provide at once. And it's not much complicated, but basically it's just handled by different stuff. So you have much work to do than just in working in Shopify. Now let's talk about the skill gap required. Now Shopify does not have much skill gap required. You just can make it easily. For example, if I go into this one, I click customize on the theme. Now again, only 6 theme. And here you just, this is the home page. And here you could see there are sections that you can make, and you are limited to this. You see, this is something that you are limited to, and at least I have found it to be. So you could see I've gone into this template section, add section, and then you have limited design styles. So you see pre-made designs. And the thing is, there are 6 free themes, so you could obviously buy paid themes and you would get like much more option. That is like obviously true. If you pay more, you're gonna get more. But by default, even if you pay like $20 or $30 per month, you are limited to these designs. But here we go, and the Shopify's pricing is bit complicated. Sorry, WordPress pricing is a bit complicated because it really comes down to what you need. For example, in this situation for my website, I actually just didn't need it to do much. $4 per month, all that was needed for me. I also have Elementor Pro, which is like $100 per month. $100 per year. So if you want to compare that, then yes. But the reason why I have Elementor Pro is because I make websites for client, and I just provide it because it's just better plugin. And also again, Elementor Pro is something that's called Page Builder, which is made by different company, and we add it here. And again, Elementor's free version, you could use it, no issues. There will be some limitations like pop-ups and all, you cannot add it. because that's like a free version. But again, if you know Elementor tutorials, then you could see that there are so many extra plugins that are made for Elementor. So you use another plugin with Elementor that adds this pop-up function, like premium add-ons for Elementor, that creates their own plugins for Elementor that makes this pop-up animations and stuff. So basically there is like less limitations when it comes for WordPress, and when it comes for Shopify there is like much more limitations. So for example, you see, you will need to learn Elementor. It's just like 2 or 3 hours and you would be like great with it. That's not much different. That's not going to be any issues. And basically you could see that we are basically just going to add this many containers, or sorry, not this many stuff. And we don't have pre-created sections. For example, if I want to create something, I'll actually have to like create it manually. So if I go into like this container, then I want to add a heading, then I want to add like an image, stuff like that. I can just create it and then I can keep adding stuff however I want. And this is not an Elementor tutorial, but basically you could add anything that you want with Elementor and just create your own vision. But the next thing I want to show you or tell you guys is for WooCommerce. Basically we are using WooCommerce, and that's in this on this store. You could see this section is handled by theme. You cannot control it with Elementor unless you buy Elementor Pro. If you buy Elementor Pro, which is $100 per month for like good features, if you go for $60 per month plan, there isn't much of a feature. They just change it. I think it's like so stupid thing to do, because just few months before $60 per month just provided $60 per year plan just provided everything, but now you have to buy $100 per month plan if you want to get all the features. But basically if you do that, you don't get this filter option. So for filter option, you use another plugin which is called the Jet Smart Filters, which is $24 per year. So you see the pricing keeps increasing slowly and slowly, but it all comes down to how much you want, how much features you want, and how much detail you want. For example, this is coming with the theme for free, by the way. And if you just buy a theme from Theme Forest, which would be like $60-70, you will get so much more option and control. And especially if they have compatibility with Elementor page builder, that way you get more configuration, more option to control it and stuff like that. And you see all of this are controlled by the theme, same as this one, but it is not like this. And at least, okay, for this sections it is true. For example, if we go for like this image with text and all, we are actually limited to left side being the product image, right side being this one, and different layouts that your theme provides. So everything that is provided around here is based on your theme. But if you buy Elementor Pro, again, you are able to customize that, and you are able to add your own stuff, wherever you want. If you want the text to be on the left side, this to be on the right side, and every customizability is based on theme, the page builder that you use. Whereas Shopify, it is based on the theme that you use. Again, pretty same, but again, if you want to have just like free version, and like if you're in tight on budget, then go for WordPress, because again, $4 per month, I have a completely running completely running e-commerce store. I've not used anything else, just $4 per month, nothing else. Elementor Pro I'm using, but again, you don't need to use that. And you see, it basically adds, and you could just place order, join newsletter. Again, for newsletter, WordPress does not come with all of these things inbuilt. You will need to use something called MailChimp, and then you use MailChimp, you install their plugin and then do it. So basically this is how it is made. Basically WordPress is like a house, which is an empty house, and then you just bring stuff from different locations. You bring table from IKEA, you bring some lamp from some street seller, you bring like a fridge from Samsung and stuff like that, and that is how you build the WordPress. Whereas Shopify is just going into an house, and then you are getting like pre-done stuff for you. You don't actually get to do much. You can actually move it left and right around stuff, but you get everything ready for you. So if you quickly want to sell and don't want to get into details, go for Shopify. Obviously if you have the budget, but if you don't have the budget, you can 100% go for WordPress. And also you actually don't even need to start and do from scratch. There are so many Elementor tutorials. I also have it, like how you can make a website in 10 minutes, and it basically creates a website for you, and you just need to create like what you call, just need to create the products, you need to change the text and all stuff like that. Much more not much complicated. I know I'm making it look complicated, but again, this is the one thing that's like I'm still coming back to it again and again. Basically the pricing would be different because Shopify you just pay once, but again if I get like MailChimp for my newsletter, and then for the MailChimp it is like, hey, I want as these are like different companies, they all have their premium version or the pro version. So all of them would be like, here's our free version and here's our premium version. If you want to want more from this plugin, you can pay more. So for each different plugin you will have to pay more based on if you want to go in that direction. And again, even though I'm saying you are not going to need to pay for like all the 10 plugins, it's you're only going to need to pay for like 1 or 2 plugins that you need or what you want. And again, I have these are like something that you could create completely free, like for $4 per month. Again, WordPress. Shopify, I'm like not much like into it, I've not used it much, but it gets you done everything like shipping, cart option, checkout option. And this is also done by like WooCommerce, shipping option, checkout option and all. And if you want to do, let's say, like abandoned cart recoveryment, then you will need to install a plugin for abandoned cart recoveryment, and you would have multiple options. It would not just be like, hey, there's one abandonment cart option. You would have like multiple plugins, because as WordPress is open source, different people create their own version of that thing, and just you have that option of choosing whichever works for you the best. And it adds like this what you call option of like adding blogs, adding your custom pages, and also changing it however you want it to be. Now security. Now WordPress security is a bit complicated than Shopify. So Shopify basically handles everything for you, which is why it's like $30 per month. They do everything for you. Whereas for WordPress, you have to do it yourself. And for that, we have plugins. Again, all-in-one plugin, which I use. It basically just, if someone tries to log in with 3 times, it basically logs them out and it's like, hey, contact, or it's basically says that you have 2 tries left, you have 1 try left, stuff like that. Basically this is what I'm using, WP security, all-in-one security. This is what it's called. And here you could choose however you want it to be secured, how your website should be secured. So it is handled by you. Again, plugin updates, it is handled by you because you have to update it, but there is also chance of plugins breaking because it is made by different companies. So if this company makes something and they make it in a way that this company's older version is not compatible, then it kind of creates a problem, which is why we create staging environment. Lightspeed Cache, for caching we use Lightspeed Cache or any other plugin, WP Rocket stuff and all. It is all based on plugin. And for SEO, we use Yoast SEO or Rank Math SEO. There's so many options for SEO too, so it's not you're limited to like one thing. But again, you see, whenever you add like a free plugin, there is an option of getting the premium version, and then the cost could, if you get like let's say you get Elementor Pro, you get Yoast, you get JetSmart Filter, you get like, let's say, a premium theme. So all of this would get like more than like $100-$200 per month if you just have to get the pro version of everything. But don't worry, you are not going to need, I have never seen anyone who actually was like, hey, I want to get the pro version of everything. It's usually 1 or 2 stuff. Usually themes are rarely used, not rarely used, they are used. And if you can go to like Theme Forest, so themeforest.com, and then here it's just so many themes that you could get for your thing. So you could convert it into a spa website, you could convert it into like, this food website and stuff. And it is basically just pre-made stuff that you can quickly make, and basically like Shopify, but you're using it in WordPress. And when you use it with WordPress, you have the ability to add your own stuff made by another company. So that's one thing that you guys need to remember. One thing also, that who owns the website, that I've already said. Shopify owns your website basically, even though you own it. If you want to, let's say, backup it or change it to another server, you cannot do it. They use their own their own software to make it. Whereas WordPress, it's open source, and which is why every server provides it, and basically you just can move it. I basically moved this website to Hostinger like 3 or 4 months back, I don't remember, from Namecheap, because Namecheap was hosted in US. I just wanted it to be like much more higher audience, so I just use Hostinger with Hostinger CDN, and it is also still hosted in US. But basically the Hostinger team was like, hey, or not hosting it, they wasn't like, hey. I basically just added like, I want to move my website from Name Hero to Hostinger, and they did it in 24 hours. So basically I have the right to have the hosting, and I have the right to keep wherever I want and however I want to change my website. If you just want to do sales, then Shopify is like very good. But if you want to have something more, then WordPress is required. Also, if you are going to use WordPress, you are actually might require to pay extra depending on what your features or whatever your requirements are. So just know that if you just want something to be sold, digital or physical product, basically WooCommerce, $4 per month, $10 per month, it's done. You don't need to pay anything extra. I think that's all. I don't think I explained it pretty well, but I hope I gave some clearance to you. I have made 95% of my websites in WordPress, and the rest 5% I was just a part of the team for Shopify or Shopify website. So I'm not much more familiar with Shopify. But lots of people, what they do is they create a WordPress website and a Shopify website. And basically what they do is they use WordPress for like the blogs, their pages, their anything achievements and all to create that, and they link whenever you click shop now, it takes them to the Shopify page and they sell it on Shopify. But that would increase your price by double because you're using WordPress and then you're also using Shopify. So if possible, just put everything in once, just in WordPress. But if you are worried, if you don't want to do the maintenance, if you don't want to have that complications of starting the website from scratch and doing stuff, and there are so many tutorials you could actually learn to create a WordPress website in like 10 hours, complete e-commerce website, less than 10 hours. I'm exaggerating it, but basically it took me like 2 to 3 hours, but it can take you 10 hours just to like go around and just figuring out every single thing. It's pretty common, nothing crazy. But yeah, just choose whichever you want. I would go for WordPress because I have used Shopify and I haven't been able to like, get that freedom that I want. But yeah, I guess that's the best thing I could talk about. And if you guys don't understand it, and if I blabbered very like not in a nice way, or because I cannot speak very fluently, I guess, so just let me know in the comments that, okay, I cannot understand stuff, you are going too fast, you're going too slow, you're just not able to be understandable or stuff, or you just missed something. So let's write in the comments or just comment and we will know. I'm not even sure what I'm saying. It's like 11 PM and I'm tired. Goodbye.